Okay, we're still in the tutorial section that's titled Making the Components Interactive, and what we've done here is found in this box here. Okay, so in our previous version, Making the Component Interactive, we saw that we could respond to a click method. The problem there is that there's no memory of that. A component is clicked, it responds to it, and then it forgets about it. So to have a component have memory of the things that has happened to that component, we need a concept called state. So we've seen the concept called props as being data that's passed into it from a parent component into a child component. State is about the state of the component, and it should be considered to be private to that component. It's the way the component remembers its state. So here we've set this up. We've added a constructor to this, props, and this is a pattern you have to follow if you do this. Construct, props, and then call super props, right? So that syntax means this constructor takes the property's value, it passes it to the parent component, React.component, and then it remembers this .state is set to the JavaScript object that has value set to null. I haven't been clicked yet. Now let's look at the modified click method, because this is central. Let me close this so we can view this whole thing. When the click occurs, instead of now popping up an alert, it has a callback function that calls this.state and sets the value now to x. So when the click occurs, we'll set the value to x, and then we'll respond with this .value. So when set state, the temptation here would be to modify state directly. This .state .value equals x. Don't do it that way. React needs to know when the state has changed. Therefore, you need to go a method call and not directly modify any element of the state. You always need to call set state. What set state does is it turns in kicks off a chain of events. And one of the chain of events that will happen is the render method will be called for that component and its child components. So if a statement is modified, that's going to be reflected in the UI in some manner, and we need to call set state, which in turn recalls the render method with the value of the new state, and the value then would be stated here. So as the button is clicked, we're remembering the value transitioning from null to x, and we're passing state.value here. Okay. So I have this. We're going to refresh the screen here. I haven't saved my changes, so that's why we had the old values there. So now we can see that the click method it no longer pops up as an alert, but it remembers the state of the click. All right, but they're all X's. So how do we get from X's to X's and O's? We'll do that next.